Welcome back to this week's episode of Success Through Connections. I'm your host, Zelda, and I wanted to remind you, don't forget to subscribe and share this episode in your social media space. Today, I'm really excited. I'm excited every week because I have such a great guest on my show. Today's guest is Katie Nelson, and I actually met her, just a couple of days ago, really, online, and she was phenomenal. We could have probably gone on and talked for hours and days. So we had to stop because I said, no, wait, we got to record this. So she's back today and she's going to share awesome, great information with us. So let me tell you a little bit about Katie and why I was so excited to have her. First of all, she's the founder and the CEO of Sales Uprising. She's a 3-time business owner who's really committed to bringing the fun into sales. And she's on a mission. Now, one of the statistics that really struck me that she said was, did you know that 90% of businesses don't reach their sales goals? That just blew me away. That's a huge number. Only 10% reaching their goals. That's not cool. So Katie is a speaker. She's a consultant, a business coach. She's got 30 years of solid sales experience behind her. And this is the number that blew me away also. She has over $150 million in sales in both product and services. So we're going to get into that because don't we want some of that too? Yes, we do. I want to make some of that kind of money. So simply put, she knows how to bring her clients into the big leagues. And that's what we want to hear. How do we get into those big leagues? Maybe some tips on that. So she's worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs to transform their companies from ideas into thriving, profit-making businesses. She does workshops. She does one-on-one training. She does consulting, mastermind courses, just a plethora of activity. So you put all those together and you'll get $150 million. She's also something I'm super impressed with. She is the newly elected president of her chapter's NABO, which is the National Association of Women Business Owners. That, people, is a big deal because this is a global organization with a huge reach. So she is phenomenal. And I just can only say thank you, Katie, for joining me again today.
Zelda, wouldn't miss it.
This is great. So, Katie, let's just jump right in with this talk about bringing the fun back into sales. What exactly do you mean by bringing the fun back into sales? What's, into that process?
I've been selling for 35 years, so 150 million plus in over the course of that period of time, right? Not just for my businesses. And it can get to be a slog, right? If you come from a sales background, it can at times be a slog.
Yes.
So one, we want to bring the fun back to those that are in the midst of a slog. Additionally, there are business owners that just don't think sales has ever been fun. Now, those are people who may or may not have ever had to sell anything in their life. So they have prejudged selling before ever trying to do it, or think that it's a certain thing that it may not be. But fun and selling for me go hand in hand. I think that as soon as you can infuse fun into almost anything, you want to do it more. And if you're a business owner, sales is something you got to do. So you might as well go ahead and have a little fun doing it.
That's exactly right. You do. Now, you also said that 90% of businesses fail to reach their sales goals. Why do you think that is, and how do they fix it?
Great question. One, try selling more. The statistics speak specifically to solopreneurs and service-based businesses that aren't IT focused, right? Okay. So if you're an IT firm or a financial services firm, traditionally you do just fine. But if you and I go out, bootstrap our own business, 10% of us aren't going to hit our sales goals. Only, I think it's now 5% of us are ever going to hit 100K. You want to talk about numbers that
today you have to make it. I was talking to someone the other day and they said, if you're not making between 80 and 150, that's basically the middle income now.
Well, and that's for top line revenue for your business. That's not your paycheck.
Right.
Which means you actually need to make more than that.
Yes, exactly.
right? Even if we're talking, I live
That's
in
take home.
DC,
Yeah, that's
right?
what
That's
take
we're
home.
just take home versus top line revenue. So, I live on one of the coasts, the parentheses over here in the DC metro area. It's the same thing with California, but
Mhm.
even the cost of living in the middle of the country has gone up. So even if you run a business in Nebraska, you're going to want to make 150K so that you can even take home potentially a livable wage.
Yes. So you sold over 150 million in products and services. Looking back, was there an aha moment when you go, oh, this is what sells?
No, I didn't have an aha moment. I started selling when I was 15 and a half. 15 and a half is like the legal age to work in Arizona. So, outside of Campfire Girls, which are basically Girl Scouts with candy,
Yeah.
you know, so selling things we'd always done, church raffles, you can sell a bunch of things when you're a kid. Remember your wrapping paper or anything for boosters where you had to go to the neighbor's house and be like, hi, do you want some of this popcorn? Those are all sales gigs when you're littler, paper routes, all of that good stuff. For me, sales has never been anything. I wouldn't even have said I was a salesperson. I would say I just like to connect to people. That's what I used to say when I was younger. And sales is the first function of business face forward that allows you to connect with as many people as you want to. I would say the bigger aha moment for me in sales is that working your connections and staying wildly connected is what brings you the most success.
Oh, yeah, I agree. What is the one of the things that you do to stay very connected to your client base?
I go on podcasts by Zelda Greenberg as an example, right? To stay connected to my customer base, I live and breathe amongst them. So I don't just hang out on social media. I go out into my local and national communities and I hang with them, right?
Right.
I'm around all the time. When you were reading my bio, by the way, I'm sure so many guests have told you like best bio reader ever. If there's an award for that, whoever's listening in podcast world,
Okay.
Zelda needs the award. I've been on a lot of podcasts.
Yes,
That was
please.
amazing. But it did make me feel like, oh my gosh, I'm super busy. And I'm not, right? I mean, I do all those things, but it's all planned out, it's all strategic. And I don't have a business if I don't have people.
Well, yeah, that's for anybody. If you don't have people, you have no business. Yes.
Right. It isn't, I specialize in service-based businesses. So for those of you who are product-based, only take this with a grain of salt. The life cycle, and the reason for that is because in business, the life cycle of a product sale, depending on the product, is vastly different than the life cycle of a service-based sale,
Yes.
right? So it is much more likely that if you're selling a product, there can be a buy here button, think Amazon, and it will sell itself. I use air quotes for those of you who are just listening. I use air quotes when I say sell itself because that's not true. Some things sold that. There was an impetus to find that particular buy now button. It didn't really sell itself. There's nothing on earth that sells itself in the way that you think, oh, I'm going to do this thing and somebody's just going to put money in my bank account. Business doesn't function that way.
Now you have to hustle.
Yeah. And by hustle, I'm assuming what you mean is get out there, tell people who you are, but ultimately the results that you provide.
It's just so many hustle to me are so many things like the handwritten notes, to go to the lunches, to go out and network, whether it's online or it's in person. As much as we keep wanting the magic silver bullet, there isn't one.
It's the work,
It's
right? So
work.
the hustle you're talking about is literally just the actual job of a business owner. And so the magic button, the easy button is to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why every time I want to start a new business,
Uh,
I have to really think, I go, no, because you're going to start at the bottom with all that little labor work that, no, you've already gotten here. Don't start at the bottom again.
it's funny you say that. If Sales Uprising wasn't my absolute passion and purpose in life to bring sales techniques, know-how, and like love and mindset to solopreneurs and small business owners everywhere, I would be wondering like, why did you ever get out of the industry of your first two businesses? So I get it because it's easier to continue to generate money in a space where you're known. Sales Uprising's 9 years old now, so there's no going back. And I don't know what I would be without it. I love what I do, but there is something to anytime you have a business and you're looking to pivot or create the next one, Just like I tell my clients all the time, find what's closest to your dollar, right? It will make the job of the startup easier.
Yeah, I tell you what, the hang up for me was it was maybe even a year ago, I decided to write a course on networking. And then I wrote one on AI and for beginners. And then I wrote one for people who are retired and they're not working and how they could use AI. But the learning curve, honestly, and not to learn AI, I'm pretty darn good at that. But it was the software programs that you have to put these programs in. So, and then the funnels you have to make. And it was like, I didn't really want to get into the weeds, but you have to get into those weeds enough so that you can hire somebody, explain to them what you're doing so that they can create the work, the flow for you. But it was like, that's why it's like, I don't want to start any more businesses.
See, Zelda, I love that. And I wish you knew me a year ago because what I would tell you is don't do any of that. Go live with your course, deliver your course, sell your course, right?
Yeah.
And then you would have generated enough money to say, okay, tech people, I don't want to know anything about these weeds.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's my videos. I want you to transcribe the content, like create sell the thing first. And
Yes.
then you always have the ability you can afford to never be in the weeds. It's a joke and it's also true. For the first 3 years of this business, I had a singular landing page. No, not the sexy landing pages that go on and on forever that you can like build. It was a static ombre website. Didn't do anything other than have my very first logo. Call Katie Nelson. This is her number, and here is her email address. And what's my tagline? Oh, where revenue moves you. So it didn't even Sales Uprising. Contact Katie Nelson, CEO. I didn't do anything with it for 3 years. I am wildly not technically savvy,
No,
right? I don't even have like those amazing skills to
and
bring
I
into my
don't want
business.
them.
Well, I would love it. At times, it would make life so much
Oh,
easier. I would
yeah.
save
Yeah.
myself so much frustration, but I don't have that. And so, knowing what my strengths are, I was like, okay, I'll just sell until I can afford somebody to do all
Yep.
that.
Yep.
We're going to really test the theory of do you need an online presence to have a business? And again, guys, more air quotes, because the truth of the matter is you don't. Although everybody thinks you do.
Yeah.
People think that you buy brands. Your brand is also created through your sell and through the delivery to your client. So
Yeah. So, what do you think is the number one mindset block that keeps business owners from selling confidently?
I think that confidence is a three-part thing, right? We've all heard this. You have to have the courage to do a thing so that it's not going to kill you or whatever it is you need to prove to yourself. Once you do it enough, you become competent in it. You start to understand your data. You start to understand the flow. You can listen and literally hear, oh, this is a good prospect for me, or no, this is not. Oh, yes, I'm comfortable asking budgeted questions. So once you do it and you become competent in it, you have the ability to become confident. And I think technology is the most amazing thing. And it also has the ability to make us think that we can hit fast forward and be in a place that we're not, right? I can take a course online, mind you, not with any feedback from anyone, but I can take a course and then I'm going to go be brilliant at something. There are very few humans on earth who can do a course that may or may not have any context provided for them and be able to use it in a way that allows them to monetize their business or otherwise. We have stopped investing the time in ourselves to become competent. I think that if you're competent in something, you have the ability to walk forward with confidence because you know you can do it. So confidence to me is a byproduct of competency.
Very good. So, how do you help your clients step into those big leagues in sales? I mean, can you share an example or a story of that?
We make them do it. Coaching is such an interesting industry. I actually can't do anything for my clients. They have to come to me. There's one thing I can't give them, and that's the desire to succeed in their business. So as long as they come with that, then we can work with anything. You have to be willing to do the work. So holding them accountable to a monetary goal. So say you want to make $10,000 a month, right? Well, do you know how many sales that is for you? Let's walk that back. Let's walk it all the way back to something that's tangible and real so you can understand how much work needs to go into that. Once you understand how much work it is, then you can actually do the work. Then you can improve on the work,
I
right?
believe that you definitely have to know your numbers.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of numbers, right? It's not even just sales numbers. It's how many people do you have to connect with before someone actually hears what you're saying. And for my clients, if you haven't gotten we've all been to a networking group where somebody says, I help everyone who. Now, what happens when you hear that? Tell the people what your face just looked like, Zelda.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we don't all help everybody.
You get this really large eye roll, right? Is what happens from the
I know
majority.
everything about everything.
Right. So if you need, I'm absolutely an expert in branding. So what I can help you with is your visibility, your through line. We also do strategic communications. So what you get is this graphic design. Of course, we want all you get these really long run-on sentences where anyone who says, I help everyone, and you're just like, you don't know yet.
Yeah, that's usually someone who's brand new in business.
So brand new in business up to a point. I've worked with clients who have said that for years and they just
Oh,
kept plodding through and until somebody said, so no, really, who do you help? Like, what is the result you provide and to whom do you provide it?
yeah, very good.
And as soon as they can get that down and start understanding a qualifying scenario, like if this is your target client, you can go directly to them. You're not wasting time. But as far as results go, the most amazing thing happened last November. Every November, I host a strategic business planning retreat. And I have my clients stand up if they hit their monetary goal. And I had 4 clients stand up, all of whom came to me at sub 100,000 in revenue. And all of them that stood up were over their first $250,000 in the first year that they worked with me.
That's incredible. That's
It,
get those
it,
testimonials.
I will take, got them. I will tell you that I was like, oh my God, okay, you guys have to sit down. I can't handle it. And it actually made me think of all of the clients that I've done that with year over year and how much revenue I've supported to put into the solopreneur community, which makes me really proud.
And well deserved. So, how do you help your clients balance selling so with serving so they don't feel like they're being pushy?
Every business owner. So when I used to get this question, I used to make the face like, what? Why would you even say that selling had anything to do with being pushy? Like, that's your opinion. But I get it. People really do think this. And, you
Well,
know,
look online. Have you ever gone on LinkedIn? This is my
love,
favorite source.
that's marketing. Let's be very
And they're
clear.
just, hi, I want to be your friend. And by the way, I can help you with your website.
Right. Are you interested in attending my free virtual blah, 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 that's going to get you here? So let's be very clear. I love this. That is marketing. That's not selling.
No, that's true. That's not selling.
That's not
Like, how
selling.
about, do you know my name?
Right. You can even say, hey, Katie, I have a guy currently in my LinkedIn. If you are listening, guy, you're a great example. Hi, I saw that you're going to be doing this one thing through something that I had posted. With that being said, can we take that even further and X, Y, and Z, 5 paragraphs later of his entire life story of how he can help me? And I'm thinking, wow, that's amazing. Let's be clear. The reason why people use those tactics is because whatever they're doing is 100% a numbers game, and that reflects the brand of their business. There's nothing wrong with it. It works. It works if you work it. It works in the same way as the used car salesman that we've all been sold that everybody thinks is like greasy or whatever. Who's not? He just happens to sell used cars, right? The pushy sales guy, the pushy sales girl, they all make money. It's okay. You don't have to buy from them, and you don't have to be that way. I can't tell you how many people, I own a company called Sales Uprising, so I'm very aware of the concept of being pushy, because let's be clear, people get on a call with me and expect that I'm going to be pushy. It's hilarious. And I'm like, I've gotten more people say to me, Katie, I know that I just gave you money and now I'm a client of yours, but I have to tell you, I never felt you be pushy once.
That's like, as a realtor, when I live in a community where every now and then, and more often than not, somebody will say, "Hey, I want to sell my house or buy a house. Does anyone know a realtor?" And then I just sit back and watch them all. I don't participate in that nonsense, but they all go, "I recommend this person. Oh, I'm a realtor. I'm a realtor. Recommend this one." And it's just this long list. And I go, "Are you people nuts? Why would you even want to get into that?" I mean,
Well, and here's the thing that there is nothing wrong with getting into that. So that speaks to what the Zelda Greenberg brand for her realty business is, right? My question to the person would be, what are you looking for in a realtor? Right? I'd be like, I know lots of realtors. Can you get more granular with that?
yes, that's a better question is what specifically are you looking for? I'll usually, if I'm going to get engaged, which is so rare, I just don't. But I just don't. But I would DM the person and ask them some questions. I don't want, I mean, my business is 100% referral. So I just don't get into it. But I laugh. I just laugh. I go, pick me, pick me. No, that's okay.
I think that there's something to be said about a hungry realtor who wants to get to know everybody, especially if they have a potential prospect in front of them. I would also say that they should be ready for that person to not be their ideal client and for them to have a Rolodex that they can pass them off to, right? So part of the reason why you choose to not participate is because how long you sold real estate, Zelda?
I've been doing it for 16 years.
There we go. So you have data. There's data in your brain that says, Zelda, remember when you used to say yes to everybody and how much of a headache those people were?
Yeah.
How you thought it was going to be easy money and it turns out to be some of the hardest money you ever worked for. That's why you don't jump up for that. But until you learn that on your own,
Yeah.
you're going to say, you should say yes every time. I would tell you those people who say yes should say yes. And it's okay if, as they grow their business, they understand that it's okay to not jump up and say, pick me.
Yeah. And you know what else you said that it just won't leave my head when you said something about the Rolodex. I'm thinking half those realtors don't even know what a Rolodex is.
Fair contact list. What do we call it now?
I don't know what I don't know, but
Connection list.
your CRM. I don't know, but they don't know what a Rolodex is. My son actually asked somebody the other day, and he's in his late 30s. He asked some 20-year-old, "Do you know what a Rolodex was?" And they were like, "Huh?"
Oh, see, now I will say I hang out with a lot of business owners, a lot of young business owners. The majority of them know what a Rolodex is because their parents are in business and they had actual Rolodexes, the ones that
Yeah,
roll,
the
which you haven't
Rolodex.
seen, the
Yeah.
ones you haven't seen for years. When I was selling, a Rolodex could be as simple as a recipe card box.
Yeah.
And you would just have the people you would
Sure.
call on Monday, right? So here's all
Yes.
these,
I
and then
remember
you'd move them to
those.
the back and I mean, from an analog
Absolutely.
systems are helpful. I use some
Yes.
to this day.
I'm old school and I have a lot of paper. I don't care what they say. So let me ask you this one about the listeners out there who say, "I'm just not a natural salesperson." What would you say to them?
I'd probably ask first and foremost why they think so. And I would bet that the answer would be some sort of version of, I don't wanna, I don't know how, I don't like it. It's like, oh, I don't eat peas. Oh, why? I don't know. I just never thought I'd like them. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. You can't, in my house, you had to try everything at least once before you could say you didn't eat it.
Okay.
So, and I'm always fascinated by parents who are like, I don't like tomatoes, so I'm not going to feed my kids tomatoes because I don't like tomatoes. I always thought that was fascinating too. I don't have children, so I can't say, but I always thought that was fascinating. So, for the people who are like, I just don't want to do it, or if they start a business and the first thing they say is, Katie, the first thing I want to do in my business is hire a salesperson. I say, good luck.
Yeah.
Or if I know them, I say, fantastic. I'm a salesperson. I'm actually a very expensive salesperson, which is true. So if you wanted to hire me, I've got some questions for you over the course of our interview process. Think you're ready to answer them?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. Well,
If you've
so
never sold, Zelda, how are you going to tell me how long it takes to convert a prospect to a dollar?
yeah, exactly. It's like
As a salesperson, I'm going to want to know that. If I'm any good,
if you're any good. That's right.
right.
That's why I stick with 100% referral based business because I know that it's going to be a rare time that I can't convert them to a yes. When I go on that sales call, I'm ready to sign them.
Right. Because of your connections, how deep they go. Now, I do want to put something, if I have your permission, I
Sure.
want to put something in context for your listeners,
Okay. Do.
especially if they're in the middle or starting. So there are two places where referral-based business truly comes into play, depending on your goals for your business. If you've been listening to Zelda for a minute, and I bet you have been, you know that she's been in her real estate business for 16 years. She's owned businesses prior to that. So she's one of those people you call a serial entrepreneur. So she's very well aware of how to communicate who she is, what she does, how she does it, and the results that her clients get. With that being said, when you're newer in business, referrals come from the people you know and who believe in you. You don't have to have marketing. You don't have to have a social media campaign. You literally have to have a group of people who can say, oh my gosh, I know Katie Nelson. She's killer. She's done a great job for me. You should talk to her. This is what she's doing now. You should definitely work with her. She can help you.
So true.
When you're in the end of your business, when you're in the thriving stages of your business, there's no years. I'm not going to give you years. You all own your own businesses. You know what that looks like for you, or you're trying to figure it out. When you're in the thriving stages, it's wonderful. You've worked to only be a referral-based business. That means that your statistics have evened out so much that you know if you never pick up a phone to do business development, that your business will continue. You will have enough money to pay your life and the business expenses, plus, if you're lucky, a little extra, right? In the middle of those two bookends, the beginning and towards the end, if you don't have the acumen, understanding, or interest in doing business development for your own business, you're going to be in a world of hurt. You have to do your own selling. Zelda can say that she has a referral-based business now because she's done the selling.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of networking. And by networking, I would show up and get to know people and do all the things that I talk about, which was the handwritten notes, the mailers, the getting together with them, throwing the ice cream parties and the holiday events and showing up at their front doors to say, hey, and whatever, and picking up the phone and saying, just calling to check in with you. And that was never salesy. That's not sales. I mean, it's sales, but it's not sales. It's like,
That's
I'm just
in-person
being
marketing.
genuine, just being genuine.
That is in-person marketing and networking. That isn't sales. But you've also gone through the, oh, hey, Zelda, I love the donut. Thank you so much. Those were my favorite donuts. I so appreciate it. And while you're here, you're a real estate agent and I am actually looking for one. So can we have that conversation? That's when the selling started. You made it so that you were top of mind. You connected with
Yes.
people authentically. You were authentically curious about their life. You asked questions. You listened to what they were saying so that you could continue your relationship with the knowledge of them in that vein, whatever it was. Their favorite color was purple, for example.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how you came to have sales conversations.
And that's for
Networking,
anybody who's in a referral based business. That's what you do. You don't have to be a realtor. You could be an insurance person, a CPA, just whatever.
yes. Well, this is what I mean by making sure that you understand your own sales process. Currently, I have a consulting engagement with a super sexy business. She's a consultant for organizational change and leadership development. It's very sexy work that she does. She does it with huge universities, all these things. She's been in business for 3 years. She's been a consultant forever, been in her own business for 3 years, has generated a $700,000 run rate. So it's sexy. She's got a good, sexy clip of business. Every single bit of it has been by referral. What's the danger? If you don't know how to sell and something changes
Oh, yeah.
in your industry,
You
with
lose
your
the big client.
connection,
Yeah.
the phone doesn't ring. So you put yourself in a risky proposition to be able to continue your amazing business if you don't know how to sell.
Oh,
If
so
Zelda didn't know how to feed herself, should Zelda's referral network dry up, she would still have the ability to sell a house and find a client. That's what I mean.
absolutely. Absolutely. Because for the podcast, I use the same things that I did in real estate. I implement those in the podcast. When I'm speaking on the stage, I implement those same follow-ups and the same process. And you just do it. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. The things that I do, for networking and for follow-up and for sales are the same things I've been doing forever.
What did we talk about earlier? We're all analog. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
The technology that we run today in terms of our CRMs or even using AI and AI prompts, all of that will serve you better if you understand the foundations of what works first, right? Instead of trying to recreate a wheel or say that your process is special. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, like, take 3 of your favorite somethings, podcast hosts, lifestyle coaches, like it doesn't really matter. You're physics engineers, like whatever it is. And actually, if you pay attention to them, even if they say, this is my special brand of doing this thing, the core of it is actually just the thing. Like, you already know it. Now you have to go do it, be competent at it. It's not crazy science. It's lots of doing.
And you have to stay current. It was like when you mentioned like AI. I have a friend, she owns a couple of businesses, and she was over at my house one day many months ago when she was asking me questions, and I said, well, let me go to Chat GPT. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, that. And so it had nothing to do with her businesses, but she was over. So whatever the questions were, I did it. She says, well, that's really great, Zelda, but that would never work in my business. I go, sure it would. And I was like, she's an artist. And I said, okay. And so I said, okay. Well, a couple of weeks later, she calls me up and she says, hey, I've got a question. And she asked me this question. I said, I don't know. Hold on. And I said, here's the answer. And she goes, well, how'd you come up with that answer? I said, chat. And she goes, a couple of weeks later, she calls me up and she goes, would you teach me how to use that? And I thought, yeah, she's my market. And that's when I created the course, A Beginner's Guide to AI, because I said, if she's over the age of 55 and doesn't know how to use it. And when I went to her home, I showed her, I said, I'm going to bring my course with me. So I brought my course with me, and she said, well, this is what I want to do. And I said, that's lovely, but I need to teach you the basics so that you can take this course and fly with it and create what you want to create. And so I said, we're going to use what you do as an artist, and we're going to use my course, and we're going to put those two together. So we walked through it. It took us 90 minutes. She was blown away. She calls me all the time about all the things that she's doing.
Of course. She would say, Zelda, you'd be so proud of me.
Yeah, I'm a genius, So anybody out there listening, that course is available still.
She'll make sure that there's a link in the podcast somewhere.
You know
Look
it.
Here's me, right? Like, let me go ahead and sell some for you. No, the link, it's in the chat.
Thank you, Katie. And we'll put your book in the chat too.
Oh gosh, not till the end of the year.
Okay, no problem. Whatever you want. So obviously we're talking about sales, and it changes over the years. It's like, remember when only doctors had beepers? And then we all got a beeper. And then we got a fax machine. And then we got what's a typewriter? Our kids don't know what a typewriter is. They only know I remember my first computer. My dad called them a typewriter,
My first Apple. I think that was the last time I owned Apple outside of my phone.
Yeah. Well, when my son was in college, he worked for Apple part-time. And at that point, I was told I have to buy nothing but Apple products, which was fine.
Well, see, I think it was called Macintosh back in the day.
I think you're probably right.
Not to date myself too much.
But his was called Apple.
Yes, right. His would have been.
Tell us about a sales experience that you had, either buying or selling, that really shaped your thinking.
It was a guy named Dave. Dave Capicella, if you're listening, you will giggle. I grew up in Arizona. When my husband and I got married, to give you a little context, we moved to the East Coast. And one of the opportunities that I had to fall in love with that ended up starting two of my businesses was professional services and staffing. Now, Zelda, this happened to be IT staffing. And I believe we've already discussed how I'm the least technical individual on earth. Fair. You at least look, I put AI in tech, and I could stand some brushing up. So make sure you put the link in. So there was a company back in the day. It was owned by a guy named Ross Perot. Here in the DC metro area, people know the company called EDS. I think in Texas, they would know it too. Ultimately, it no longer exists, but it was a product agnostic, services-based company that here in the DC metro area serviced government contractors. They were a government contractor, so they served government contracts. I had the opportunity in my brand new professional services and staffing career to put my hat in the ring to go work with EDS. And I was so excited about it because I could see so much potential. And so we were a preferred vendor. If you know this term, you know that this means no, you don't automatically print checks from this client. It means you have what's called a license to hunt. In nicer terms, because I don't really like hunting, you have an open invitation to make connections if you are a preferred vendor.
I've been a preferred vendor.
I bet you have. So I'm walking down the lists of the people, and there's a guy named Dave, and he runs basically it's a call center, a tier 0 through tier 3 call center on this contract. And I don't know him, but I know call centers, and I know that call centers go through a lot of staff. So I called him up. He answered his phone. I said, "Hi, this is Katie Nelson." And he said, "Do I know you?" And I said, "Well, you might or you might not, but you can find out if you do by meeting me tomorrow at Clyde's for lunch." Now, Clyde's is right across the street from where he happened to be located. And he was like, "Who are you? Like, this is the craziest call ever." And I'm like, "Oh, Dave, my name's Katie. I'm a preferred vendor. I happen to love call centers. So I thought we could get to know each other over a salad. What do you think?" And so he took me, he's like, "I never do this. I'll take you up on it." Because it was just such a different kind of call. To this day, regardless of what company I went to, this is maybe multiple decades at this point. Almost 2007. This was in 2007. He would go to whatever company I was in. We have created the most solid relationship. Neither one of us do what we did then. We are still friends all through the sales process and the continual sales process. Right? So your relationship continues to grow as you deliver to your clients.
Yes. What a cool story.
It's one of my favorites.
Well, that's a different kind of approach. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about masterminds for just a minute.
Sure.
What do you think really makes an effective mastermind? It used to be that there were, you would see, I have a mastermind or a master class. And now it's like bombardment. Everybody has a mastermind group. So what makes an effective one that really will stand out?
I can't answer that for everybody. I can only tell you what I do and what my clients are attracted to or what I hear in their testimonials that works for them. The mastermind that I run has multiple parts, right? So there is an educational component to my mastermind, in addition to your traditional peer perspectives and roundtable like experience share, along with accountability and support. So I don't understand like a 3-month mastermind. For me, that's just a 3-month class, depending on what they're offering.
Didn't it go on forever, so to speak?
So it could. The goal, because Sales Uprising clients have goals that are monetary,
Yeah.
I only run it for a year. And if you want to come back, you're more than welcome to come back.
Oh, okay.
You will learn more.
Okay.
But it's not forever, because my goal is to get you from one place, my tagline, where revenue moves you. I want your revenue to move you from out of this space into this space.
This space. Yeah.
Right, into the upper space. So I run a mastermind specifically for service-based businesses that haven't hit $250,000 yet. And then once they hang out there and they marinate in that beautiful space for a minute, inevitably what happens is they're like, "Oh, well, now I need staff. Now I need to really start doing different things." That got me $250K for a solopreneur is a very distinctive spot. So for my business model, you're basically in startup, not dependent on how many years you've been there, but based on your revenue. So once you make $250K, then you talk to me about the advanced mastermind, which is different learning, different accountability, and different support.
So sales changes over the decades. Things just change. I mean, the world changes. So do you see some trends and some shifts that you think are the most important ones that we should be paying attention to right now?
I will tell you that I think it's the things that don't change that we should be paying attention to. How you accomplish an end is what changes, right? I can take your money in a heartbeat now, and you and I aren't even in the same space. From a salesperson's perspective, that's super sexy, right? You used to have to think of Think of the guy who used to own the covered wagon who sold all of the actual snake oil, like in the Old West. He had to be in your town to
Yes.
sell you the snake oil so he could take your coins,
Right.
or even further back to barter a thing. Technology allows it so that I can do sales or business with anybody who has a button to click,
Oh gosh, yes. Oh,
right?
it
So
brings
the
me back to the days when I was married and my husband and computers just came into everybody's homes, a PC. And we looked at them and we thought, how do you make money with this thing? We hadn't a clue.
And now you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's integral to how I pay my bills, to like incoming and outgoing cash, Zelda. So for me, it's the things that don't change. Where we really need to focus isn't on the trends of sales. Because if you take a look at the trends, there's a nucleus to them. And what it involves is humans. Do you know what I will tell you will never buy from you? A bot's not going to buy from you.
And this is true.
Right? Machines aren't going to do unless you have created a program that allows you to trade your stocks and whatever automatically without you having anything to do with it. And I don't even know that could be done because the stockbroker on the other end needs to talk to a human, I believe. Like, I can't think of a place where computers do my clients' buying.
Yeah.
My clients are humans. So the place where we really need to concentrate, the place where we can get it right every single time is in the sales operation of our business, right? The sales portion is to actually kind of stay away from trends, stick to what we know. If it ain't broke, don't fix it,
I always say that. Yeah. Very
right?
good. Very good. So tell me a little bit where I know we've gone a little over, but it's important what you're talking about. Tell us a little bit about those retreats that you have.
Oh, the strategic business planning retreat is something that's included in my mastermind for my clients, because business planning for your next year is part and parcel with your success. The second year in my business, I opened them up to all of the small businesses that I knew, because everybody needs this. So this year we go all over the country. The goal for me is it's always on the first Thursday and Friday of November. And then you get to have your weekend in that city, right? So you can also just kind of relax, because it's an intense experience planning for your whole next year if you've never been to one of these things. But the things that come out of it, the things that get created, the relationships amongst the people who are there doing their planning together is so beautiful to see. It's one of my favorite things to deliver every year.
Oh, it sounds exciting. So where are you going this year?
Denver, Colorado. We're
Okay.
going to be at the Art Hotel. I'll give you a link if you want to share it with your people. I've stayed in this hotel multiple times. It's literally like in the middle of the city. Denver is such a bustling, amazing food everywhere. And of course, we negotiate amazing rates for our clients. So
Very
book
good.
your room.
So, Katie, we are really out of time. So, but
Oh,
I have one question I have to ask you because it's my signature question that I ask everybody on the show. So, here it goes. So, can you share a story of a time when you were presented an opportunity because of a connection that you had, or that connection helped you give an opportunity to someone else, even?
every day of my life. My whole life is made up of this story. But even getting on this podcast, I'm sure your guests tell you this all the time. How I came to Zelda was through a connection. Shout out, Jake. We love you. One of the best connectors
Oh my gosh,
on the
the best.
planet Earth.
Jake.
MDRN, shout out. But yeah, so how I get my best clients is through connections. How I get my best opportunities. I have someone who I met a gazillion years ago in networking literally just came and asked me to deliver a 2-hour masterclass to 45 brand new business owners this August. And I'm so excited for that opportunity. So staying open to connection, being present with my connections is how I make all of my money.
That's awesome. It's all about the connections. So I wanted to remind our listeners, thank you. I did forget to ask, how can our listeners find you, reach you, get in touch with you? Give us the whole rundown.
Oh my goodness. I have Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, all company pages, all at Sales Uprising, baby. Go get you one. Sales Uprising. Katie Nelson on LinkedIn. You can email me at info@salesuprising.com if you've got specific questions. I've got a YouTube channel, Sales Uprising. Go get you some little tiny nuggets to feed the fire of your business.
Yes, absolutely. And we will put that in the notes. And I thank you, Katie, for your time today. Don't forget, listeners, I want you to subscribe and share this episode with your social media. And remember that success is not created in isolation. It is created from the connections that you have. So keep on reaching out and making those connections. See you next week at Success Through Connections.